Hey everyone, thanks for stopping in and watching my video. Just wanted to preface the video you're about to watch is just kind of a tutorial on how I updated my car with the that has the variable voltage control so that basically my alternator charges at what the regulator wants it to charge at, not what the ECM says to charge at. So I didn't do an intro for the video when I recorded it, and I doing the editing went, hey, probably should put an intro in here. So I'm Joe. This is my channel, and hope you enjoy. All right, hey everyone. So I'm gonna do a little project on my car. So I've got my 2015 Sentra here. As you can see under the hood, I got some extra wiring. Got a big 3 upgrade, where we've done 0 gauge all the way to the alternator, 0 gauge to the frame or engine to frame, 0 gauge from battery to frame. And then I have my 0 gauge running back through a circuit breaker here, all the way back to my back battery that's in the trunk underneath my amp rack, where I've run 0 gauge up to my amplifier. Well, this car has, and a lot of Nissans have, variable voltage control. So when I start my car and I'm running it, it starts up, it charges about 14.2, 14.3, what an alternator is supposed to. Then, as soon as I put it in gear, the engine goes, hey, we want to reduce load and we want to save on gas, so we're going to drop it down to 12.9 volts. And I pretty much charge either 12.9 or 12.6 the entire time I'm driving. And when I'm driving and the bass is on and we're hitting the sound pretty good, I'm drawing more current out of my battery that I'm putting back in with my alternator. Now the alternator on this car is stock. It's a 110 amp alternator from the factory, so it puts out a good amount. My amplifier only I think is 40 amp fuse on it, so or 240 amps is, I don't know, it puts out 1,000 watts RMS, but I've clamped it at 1269, I think. Well, these I'm drawing more current out of my battery than I'm putting in. Plus, with only running at basically battery voltage, I'm not running at the 14.4 like I should be. My amp is actually drawing more current, because to make watts, it's amps times volts, and just not getting that out of it. So to get the same amount of wattage, you got to either increase the amps or increase the volts. So I'm increasing the amps, which again draws away from the battery. So we've got over here, I printed out a manual, or I found a manual for my car, and we are going to go through and remove, or actually install, a switch on the wire here that goes between the IC regulator, or the thing that controls the power generated by the alternator, and this little bugger here. Basically, this will send out a signal, which it gets from the ECM, basically telling it, hey, we need to reduce load, or we need to increase load, or whatever. You can go ahead and charge, or you don't. When the signal is sent, it controls basically it bypasses the control that the regulator has, and it controls the alternator on its own. What we're going to do is we're going to put a switch in here. I'm going to interrupt this signal so that when the regulator does not see the signal, it'll default to the default controls, which should be full charge at 14.4. And so for when I do need the extra power, I can flip the switch and turn the system off, basically, and let the alternator charge how it's supposed to. If I then want to put it back in, if I'm want to worry about my gas mileage or whatever, I can turn the switch on and reconnect the wire, basically, and we're charging at what the engine thinks we should be charging at. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to take some time and get the car taken apart, and when I'll find the wire and I'll come right back. Alright, so I've exposed the IPDM-ER Intelligent Power Distribution Module engine room. I didn't even know this thing existed. I got a freaking fuse panel under there. So we are going to be looking for this wire, which comes from the regulator plug on the alternator. They call it generator. It generates electricity. I guess we'll go by that. It's going to be in pin 47, so we've got to go to a page I can pick up. So not this page, right here. So we got to find plug E46. We're going to grab pin 47. Color of the wire is green. It's the alternator control. So pin 47 is going to be right there. This is on the harness side, so HS means harness side. We're going to find E46. Now E46 is not on that page. There's one of these that shows which plug E46 is. And I bet you I did not print it out. You're right, I did not print it out. So, basically we're going to look for a 12 pin plug with green in that color, or that pin right there, and a L. What color is L? I don't know, it's a white connector, but here's the module. So I had an air intake right here, and look, I got a fuse panel. Didn't even know that was there. To grab a phrase from one of the favorite guys on YouTube, I'll be dipped. So I gotta find myself a 12 pin connector with a green wire. I betcha that is it right there. So pretty sure this green wire, if we look, that looks to be in pin 47. So here's my wire that I'm going to cut and put in a switch, which I'll bring into the car and have somewhere on the dash, and I'll kind of go through the steps here in a little bit, and I'm going to get my tools and everything set up and come back. Okay, so I've kind of made myself some room here. I got rid of the channel where the wire's going to come out, so I can get my, once I do attach my switch wires, I need to be able to feed them out of here without making this box susceptible to water. So I had to break had to take this little piece out here, which snaps down into place, which to do that, I had to get these little locks. I had to pull the box loose so I could get my pick down there. Anyways, I've cut the wire, and normally at startup, like I said, it does charge at full voltage, but I just verified that it does that, and it does not, when I put it into gear, it doesn't drop back down like it normally does. So I've got a volt gauge down here. Let me just start the car, and we are at 14.1. This is 1/10 of a volt off from like my meter on the battery. So I have a wire run directly to this meter from the battery through a relay, because I do want it to shut off. It's also my charge. Yeah, I got 2 USB ports on that. But when I put it in gear, just put it in reverse real quick. Don't want to run into the garage door, but it does not drop. Going to drive, doesn't fluctuate at all. Usually it drops down to into the 13s and then down to 12 as I'm backing out of the driveway. So I like it. I got no lights on in the dash except for the seat belt and the door open, but no warning lights. That's good. Nothing coming up on the radio. So I think what I'll do now is I'll plan on finding a spot for my switch. I think I'm going to put the switch up in this area on either side here. I've got some space available behind there. I got a tiny little rocker switch I'm going to throw in. I do want it to be accessible so I can reach it while I'm driving. Thought about putting it under the dash, but I want it to be able to. I want to be able to reach it while I'm driving. So I'll get things together and come back at you. All right, just like that, through the power of editing, I've got my wires hooked up. I ran some just some 2-strand wire I use for wiring up LEDs. And I've got it into some loom here, going down into my firewall where all my other wires run, and that'll... I've got just my spool there. I'll be fishing the excess in, but let's see if I can get you underneath here. Yeah, everything's through grommets and stuff. Lots of wire under here with all the crap I've got in this car, but I'll get it all tied up and taped up and everything. And then I've got the switch in. There's some light here. So I got the switch in there. It's just a little one. Put a little pigtail on it, and I've got its mate here, and that'll go on the other end of the... Geez, it won't focus. You get the idea. It'll snap in together, and that'll be on the other end of that wire. And that way I can remove this and if I need to get at the radio or something like that. And what's nice, this piece, if you buy a fit kit for this car, this is exactly what you get. The doubled-in radio in this, if you have the non-Bose touchscreen, it's a different shape, so you'd have to get this if you're adding a touchscreen, but since I have the Bose radio with the touchscreen nav, this already has it, so if I want to replace the radio, I've already got my bezel. If I want to put a different one in that doesn't have a hole for a switch, after, like, if I want to sell the car or something, I just buy one off of Metra or something, and I've got myself a kit. So, all right, I'm going to get this all buttoned up, and I mean, you guys have seen, people tie up wires and solder wires. That's why I didn't film it, but I'll come back when it's all ready and show you the final results. All right, we're going for a little test drive here, and I've got my switch installed, and of course you can't see it because it's dark out, but hey, you still can't see it. So we're cruising along, and we are at 12.9. Switch is on, so I'm going to shut the switch off, and boom, right to 14.2. Love it. And if I flip the switch back on, so now it's ECM controlled. Now it's regulator controlled. Nice. No engine lights on, no check engine light. Awesome. So I'm happy. This car needs this. I've been probably every week or so having to just throw a charger on the batteries to top them off, because the car definitely runs differently when it's got low voltage, and especially this summer, since it's been so nice, I've been jamming out, with the windows down, system up. This is great. So when I get back to the garage and I can show you the final product when it's light in there, I will do that. Otherwise, we'll be back. Okay, I'm back in the garage, and so I'm just running here, just idling. It's at 13.9. That's, get a little RPM behind it, and goes up to 14. Now, here's the switch. Probably add some lettering to it or something, on, off, and maybe like VCC down the side here, but once I'm going to click it, it drops down to battery voltage, which I was running my system pretty hard just now, so it's probably actually what my batteries are probably sitting at 12.5. So for whatever reason, the ECU thinks, or ECM thinks, yeah, it's okay, you're not drawing anything, you don't need to charge. But it's like, yeah, you need to charge. Just use some. You're using amperage. You gotta throw some amps back into it. So it's now defeated, and we're go right back up. So it's sitting about 14 volts. Like I said, this one, to my meter on the batteries, it's actually would probably say 14 volt, not 13.9. So tenth of a volt off. But so that's the install. That's the fix. And yeah, thanks for watching. And if you want to do this to your Nissan, I highly suggest it. Car runs better. It just felt like it had more power even. Of course, it's really cold out too, so it's like 39 degrees, so that helps. But yeah, it is great. The battery key, or the alternator, keeps up. It actually, if you have short commutes or anything like that where you're, maybe 8-9 mile commute, you're not running the car for more than 15-20 minutes at a time. But if you have your accessories running, your stereo running, if you have a system in the car, that's going to tax your battery because you're taking out more than you're putting into it, and eventually your battery's just going to be weak and fail on you. So you should be charging at a higher voltage, higher amperage, get everything out of that alternator, replace everything that you take out, and this is a good solution to it. I mean, the intent from Nissan's engineers was good: reduce engine load, give yourself a little less strain on the engine, turning the alternator. But boy, at what cost? If you have a nice long highway commute, I'll probably turn this thing on and off as I need to. That's why I put the switch in. You don't have to put a switch. You go underneath there, cut the wire, cap the ends, and you're done. So this is my solution. Hopefully you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.